Hi, my name is James Shepard, and today I'd like to address those of you that are already selling credit card processing, or you're thinking about getting into the credit card processing sales industry. It's a great industry to be in, and there's been some big changes lately, especially with the Durbin Amendment, and you've probably heard some things from your processor already about actions that they're taking with regard to the Durbin Amendment. And today, though, I want to talk a little bit about what it means for us as salespeople, those of us that are out there in the trenches. We are out there walking into businesses. We are trying to generate new accounts, and what exactly the Durbin Amendment means for us and for you, and what are some things that you can do to take advantage of the Durbin Amendment savings and use it to strengthen your portfolio and to get some new sales, some new accounts. Now, first of all, I want to give you 3 facts about the credit card processing industry that you may not have thought about. And I really challenge you, even if this goes against what you would normally think. I've been doing this for a while. I've made a lot of sales. I have a lot of sales agents that work with me. And so take some time to think about these 3 facts and about where our industry is heading. Number 1, it's really more of a question than a fact, but why are you selling credit card processing? Now, the answer to that question should be for long-term residual income. If you're selling credit card processing for upfront money, let me give you a tip. Go get a job. Jobs pay more money upfront. If you are just looking for the upfront money, sell cars, sell anything else. Credit card processing is very difficult. And if you're getting into this just because you think I'm going to make a fortune in upfront money, you're probably going to be sadly disappointed. You can make good upfront money in this industry, but there are other industries where you can frankly make more money in upfront compensation. What the credit card processing industry has to offer if you're with the right company. Now, so I'm going to assume as you watch this video that your goal is to build a long-term residual income stream that's very solid and very stable. Because I can't imagine any other reason why you would want to sell credit card processing. It's very difficult. I talked, actually an agent emailed me a little while ago. He started in the industry about 6 months ago. And he told me, he was explaining to me how difficult it was to get through the first 6 months. But now he's at a point where he's going to be getting really closer to $2,000 a month in residual income. And now the first of each month, for very little effort, he's able to get $2,000 on the first of every single month. And that's pretty good money. I mean, you're talking about $500 a week to really not do very much. But again, it took a lot of hard work to get there. And I'm assuming that if you're in credit card processing, I know you need the upfront money just to put food on the table and pay the bills, but I'm assuming that that's just something you're doing to get you somewhere else, which is get to the point where you have that residual income stream built up. And 2, let me ask you a second question. How do you get sales? How do you really get sales? What is it that really gets people to switch over? Now, if you talk to the CEO of your processor, he would say great service, great personality, good equipment. But if you're actually a salesperson like me and you're out in the field, I made a sale yesterday, I made a sale the day before yesterday, I'm going to make another one today. If you're that kind of person where you're actually out selling, you know what sells. What sells is price, okay? I'm saving people money. I was trying to think back to all of the accounts that I've sold, all of the people that have signed up for the service, and I can't think of one that I ever signed up not saving them money. I can't think of one person that I went to the close and said, now, it's going to cost you $50 more per month to switch, but I'm a great guy and you should really switch to me. I've never done that, and I've never gotten a sale that way. Now again, yeah, you got to be a good salesperson. You have to present yourself well. You have to play the numbers game. All those things come into play, but when you come right down to it, you're not going to get a sale unless you're saving them money. Okay, that's just a fact. You have to be able to save people money, and the more the better. The more money you can save them, the easier it is to get that sale. Okay, lastly, number 3, and I'm going to tie all these together. Lastly, number 3, notice that the government is already starting to regulate one of our parent industries, the banks. The Durbin Amendment regulated how much the banks are allowed to charge the processors. Okay, so do you think it's possible that the government could eventually regulate our industry a little bit? Yeah. Also, look at the fact that our competition. If you are a salesperson, you know this is a very competitive market. It's a mature industry, and the competition is heating up. So use some common sense and think about this, okay? If you're in an industry that is highly competitive, where the government is beginning to regulate parent industries, okay, and where price is the major contributing factor to getting new accounts, think about this. Does that sound like an industry that's moving towards cheaper prices or more expensive prices? Which way are we moving? Okay, obviously we are moving towards cheaper prices. The money that customers are willing to pay for your services are going to slowly decrease. All right, that's because it's going to become more and more difficult to differentiate your service from the competition. All right, now there is a certain level of profitability that you have to have in order to just provide the service. And so the processors are not going to allow the profit to get below a certain point, but they will let it get down to a certain point. Now, the Durbin Amendment, what the Durbin Amendment has done, it did something very, very important for us as salespeople. The Durbin Amendment, now keep in mind, cost is a major contributor to getting new accounts. Now, in the past, there was two types of fees or costs that we charge the customer. There was the interchange fees that we charge customers that are from the banks. Now, we couldn't do anything about those fees. It's the cost structure. It is what it is. Then part of the fees that we charge is markup, processing fees, transaction fees, basis points of markup. If you're selling on tier pricing and you're charging 1.76%, probably about 1.5 to 1.25% of that revenue that you're charging them is cost from the bank. You can't do anything about it. But then there's also the markup. Now, in the past, the only way that I could get a sale as a salesperson was to go out and say, look, I'm going to decrease your markup. Okay, you were paying interchange plus 80 basis points of markup. I'm now going to take it down to 25. So I might be able to save them a little bit of money. But I couldn't do anything about the interchange fees. Well, what's happened now is the Durbin Amendment has decreased the interchange fees because they said to the banks, you have to charge less than what you're charging. But this is something really important about the Durbin Amendment that you might not fully understand yet. The Durbin Amendment was created, it was lobbied for by the big retailers like Walmart, Walgreens, companies like that, Target, because they're going to save literally billions of dollars. Now, they lobbied for that because they are all on interchange plus pricing. Now, if you're not familiar with interchange plus pricing, then you need to go to my website, ccsalespro.com, click on Agent Training and Statement Analysis, and you'll see a whole group of videos there about interchange plus pricing and how it works. But interchange plus pricing is totally different than tier pricing, which is probably what you might be selling now. Tier pricing says you are going to pay X percentage no matter what the banks charge us. Okay? So as a processor, I'm saying to you, a customer, you're going to pay 1.79% or whatever. No matter what the bank charges us, you pay that rate. Okay? Now, the Durbin Amendment reduced the fees that the bank is allowed to charge to the processor. But the Durbin Amendment did not specify that the processor has to pass those savings on to the customer, to the business owner. Okay? So what that means, a lot of processors are doing, their existing customers that are on tier pricing at 1.79%, well, the cost for the processor and for you up until now might have been 1.5%. Well, now it's only 1%. Went way down. But the processors are not lowering the cost for the business owner. Okay, they're leaving it at 1.79% or whatever. Now, there's a couple things about that are going to happen. A couple things that will happen because of that are pretty obvious. Number one, as small business owners and the Better Business Bureau get wind of that and start to fully understand what's going on, that these existing customers are not getting any of the benefits from the Durbin Amendment. Okay, because the Durbin Amendment was created for larger companies that are on interchange plus pricing, where all of the savings from the bank is just automatically passed through to them. The government is going to think about regulating our industry, aren't they? Because they're going to say, how come you guys didn't pass these savings on to the business owners? Why did you keep all the profit for yourself and not pass any of it on? They're going to get upset about that, and they're going to start thinking about regulating us, which is going to create a huge scramble. The other thing that's going to happen is, people like myself, I sell interchange plus pricing to small businesses. On interchange plus pricing, the business owner is going to get the full effects of the Durbin Amendment, which means that we can now show additional savings for the merchant that's not going to hurt our profits at all. I'm still going to make the same profit. Why? Because the thing that decreased was my cost. My cost decreased, so I'm going to pass that decreased cost or that increased savings onto the merchant, but my profit margin is going to stay exactly the same. So all of my existing accounts are going to be happy next month when they get their bill and realize some of them, their cost decreased overall by 15%. That is huge in the processing industry to get that kind of a percentage savings. And it won't cost me a penny. Okay, it's just the regulation being passed through to my customers. Whereas people that are selling tier pricing, their customers will see zero benefit unless the processor lowers their tiers, but as many of them are not because they can't do that because they have independent agents, and so they're not going to lower the tiers. So what's going to happen to them is their profit's going to increase by 15%, but the savings are not going to increase for the merchant at all. Now, when I described the first three things to you, you probably agreed with me that our industry is moving towards cheaper prices, less markup. I just told you that because of the Durbin Amendment, those people on tier pricing are now going to have more markup. Okay? So what do you think is going to happen next? Do you think that the people that sell on tier pricing are going to end up with all the accounts? Or do you think the people that are on sales teams like mine, where I sell only Interchange plus pricing and provide a better cost savings to the merchant, do you think we're going to end up with the accounts? Who's going to have all the accounts 10 years from now, 5 years from now? Who's going to be increasing and who's going to be decreasing the number of accounts they have? Do you think that you're going to steal my accounts if you come to them and say, I charge more? Or do you think I'm going to take your accounts if I come to your customers and say, I charge less? Okay? Think about the logic there. All right? There's a reason why I'm able to get a lot of accounts and why I get sales constantly in my local area. Now, yeah, I read a lot of sales books. I do a lot of research. I know my stuff. And the Durbin Amendment has allowed me to now offer a much lower price to my customers that are on tier pricing. Potential customers that are currently on tier pricing. I can go into them, and I might have been able to save them 5% before. Now I can save them 15 or 20%. Huge difference, okay? So my name is James Shepard. Thanks for taking time. I know it's a long video. I appreciate you taking time to watch it. But thank you so much for your time. Hope you have a great day today.